All right, we're going to do this again. This is an attempt to look at, again, Moody Hope or the Dark Souls 3 game and or the actual PlayStation and see if anything's interacting with it, or we have a avatar that does something that I do not know what it is. So, first, to Moody Hope. First, there's a relationship between me and you. There's a bond between me and you. So I'm going to try seeing if that bond does anything. I do not know. Maybe it does. So, first, there's a lot of love to Moody Hope. That has always been the case with Moody Hope. Always do things, like I say here, but with Moody Hope, there's always been the bond. Is that bond something? I do not know. When I look at Moody Hope, or Hope, the thing is always, has been, you tend to react occasionally on times. What I'm wondering is the influence. Does that do something? Is that a catalyst, or am I just imagining things? I do not know. So I'm calling on you. If you are doing something, show me what it is. I'm curious. Gotta keep on thinking. To be honest, I don't think anything's coming from you. I really don't think so. What the relationship is, in some ways, back in 2020, that's when you first arrived. You did. Your file is not tainted. That I know. It is not. So I'm trying to see what, if anything, because I do not understand. I do know this. In 2020, for sure, something was here. How many things were here? Why were they here? That was during COVID. Many things were passing. And when they passed, somehow they came this way. I do know the other day that something tapped on that Yeti orb. I know that for a fact. That I do know. And I was positive I heard a voice. The mystery has always been, what is the association with you? I still say there is something either unique to the game itself, some type of prior relationship, or some kind of bond, or something that essentially tends to track things here. I do not know if that's the case, or simply my imagination. I really have no idea. But I do know one thing for a fact. When I've looked at things, there has been times where things seem to interact in the apartment. I thought I heard something here. I can't prove anything. Today, I could have sworn I put those gloves in my cooler, and I really find myself saying, I do not know. Can't prove anything. The other day, I noticed something recording the video I made the other day, and that is simple. When I said Moody Hope, the camera somehow distorted slightly. That I do know. It's either from the controller or maybe from you. I do not know. As soon as I said the word Moody Hope, I got a slight glitch on the camera, which I thought interesting. I said something recording that. I'll watch that again. So I do not know if that was the camera itself or something to do with the controller. I do not know. But I've never seen that before. I did experience that yesterday. It may be essentially the controller itself and the setting that did something. But I find it, again, odd that when I'm doing things, things seem to happen around you in some ways. So, question. The bond itself. Is there a bond that somehow does something here and allows other things to slip through? Are you responding? That is a question I still have a mystery on. There are times you seem like you do respond. Again, I realize I'm looking at the leveling and I'm paying attention to that. But I still say occasionally there seems to be just odd things. No way to define it, no way to tell it, what the relationship is. Is there any kind of relationship or anything bizarre resulting from the game itself? The actual avatar? Or simply just the actual PlayStation itself is some type of power source, some kind of energy or something. I really don't know. I recorded something unusual, which was actually something tapping on the Yeti orb. That I recorded again, and again I got the it sounded like a voice in the distance. Again, more tapping. I was saying God will save us, come quick. I said that, and that's when I finally got the tapping on the microphone. So God will save us, come quick, persist, Father, and then I got the tapping noises on the microphone. And the other day, I said, Moody Hope, and I noticed the camera glitched, which is kind of weird. And then I saw something else differently again, the bopping again. And again, like I say, you can't always get her to bop. You really cannot. Does it always work? Nope. A lot of times I can move her around all day long and you get nothing. And then on occasions, you get something which is unusual, and that is simply the association with the supernatural or paranormal is so something I say I don't really get into it entirely, but I can't entirely dismiss it either. Because I recorded things, I know for a fact, voices, things banging, things occasionally moving in the apartment. I've seen that. And so far, nothing from her. Nothing at all. I'll play this back. I recorded something on the cell phone, and it sounded like someone cursing. Could be a radio from the outside. A small kind of sound in the background also. I don't know what that is. Something seemed to say something, and I'll play that back and see what I get. But I'm trying to see, because the PlayStation was not on, and I was not playing Dark Souls 3. The other day I saw you do something, huh? The camera glitched slightly, and I said Moody Hope. And then you started bopping. And I still say that's unusual, don't you think? Huh? So let's try again. Let's do little things here. This is what I call my little paranormal thing. I always try to say, are you a ghost? Huh? And you have never said anything with that one. I've never heard anything with that one. Are you a ghost? The other one I kept on saying, are you a medium or something psychic? Huh? Do you have any psychic abilities? Huh? Do you? Curious on that one. Do you have any psychic abilities? Or are you associated with the paranormal? What association do you have with the apparitions that came through here? Normally, asking that kind of question to a video game would be nonsense. But the thing that's really much about that is when you start looking at recordings and start hearing voices talking, people talking, things moving, and always the biggest thing in common has always been Dark Souls 3. And the closest thing to a ghost is her. That I do know. Part of the ghost was actually an apparition, and the other part of the ghost was something within the game itself. And I still say part of it is still you. I still am convinced somehow. I don't know what it was exactly. But I will say this, something happened in 2020 associated with this game. And that is the part I've been trying to figure out ever since. What exactly was in the house? And why, of all the most bizarre things, I do remember the base machine threatening the base machine, something happening within that machine, and then threatening it. And then I got a bizarre picture, which I always call the Moody Hope portrait, which seems to be something of a ghost photograph. Eerie, because you see a lot of things in the photograph and no way to prove it. I still say, to this day, it seemed to be some type of message. And that was unusual. when I look at that particular photograph, this character is split in half. One side of the character is in light and the other side is in darkness. The light side, you see a Jesus character, you see which looks like a prophet of some kind on the light side. On the dark side, you'll see something, skulls all over the place, and the skulls on the darker side are skulls. You'll see specters on the dark side, and the feeling you're getting is the character's been split in two. There's a light side and the dark side. All the things you can see within the actual portrait, the picture, are eerie. Because when I'm looking at that, what was in the house moving back and forth was someone in a robe. It looked like someone who was wearing a Catholic type priest type of garment. And then from there, what was moving back and forth within the kitchen is something moving backwards. To this day, I've been stunned because I've looked at that and trying to say that's got to be the camera. And for a period of time, I could have sworn that was the camera. Then I find out later on, I don't think it's the camera, because the problem is when you see what is moving back and forward within that video, something is like taking a hop backwards. And I cannot explain the motion part. That's what fascinates me. So the connection with this character, or what was ever here, is either the game itself, the PlayStation, or possibly the game, or the avatar herself. I do not know the association with the paranormal. But I do know there are still occasions when things come in here to say hello. And some things do seem to happen which are unusual. The other day, I saw something, I still say it may have been the controller, I don't know. I said Moody Hope, and I noticed the camera kind of glitched, which is kind of weird. The knocking noises, tapping noises on the microphone, I thought that was kind of weird. And then recording that material a way back, I heard someone saying hello. And that took me for a loop because I actually re-recorded 2 different videos and I had the same male voice saying hello, which is unusual. Again, not Nuke's top 5 material. Not even close. But still interesting. So this character, in some ways, that's why I say Game of 4. The unusual part of the character, and somehow all of this associated with a game console, and a character that always seems to do something, and the game itself that seems to do something with the paranormal, which I do not know. To what extent, maybe very little. But in 2020, a lot was happening here in 2020. I do know that part. That's all I'm going to record from this one.